Alrighty, here at the Haskell House for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also sponsored by Dubrook. I'm Brock Jordan here, joined by Jason Say. Jason has All In Outdoors. He's also part of Magnet Outdoors and has his Whitetail property consulting business. You know, Jason, we're pleased to have you here tonight. I'm glad you could make it. We're sad Josh couldn't make it on tonight. He had other things going on with birthdays and stuff, but we're glad you could make it tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate you having me for sure.
It's going to be a blast. The show's always fun. So, we're going to talk, mostly all hunting stuff. I know you big hunter. Any hunter in Western Pennsylvania's probably heard the name Jason Say. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch your show. So, I mean, first of all, I guess how did this hunting season go for you? Rifle season just ended. Flintlock's getting ready to start here soon.
Yeah. Hunting season was great. It was a rough season in the fact that I had to hunt really hard. I ended up shooting my target buck after 73 archery sits. Ended up shooting him the second to last day, but it was worth it. Great 5.5-year-old deer that I was chasing all year. But my highlight was definitely my 79-year-old dad shot his biggest buck ever, and he has a little bit harder time getting around. So definitely, without a doubt, the highlight of my year, we took Josh's daughter, Lena. She shot her first year. Loved doing stuff like that. And then I got 4 doe, too, so it was a pretty good year. I got a couple for the freezer. I donated a couple, and I strategically saved 1 tag for Flintlock muzzleloader season. But it was a great season for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love doing that Flintlock. Everybody just – some people like to sit during it, but there's a lot of people that just love to run around and see what they can push around, pop up, and snag one in the wintertime.
I get to travel to lots of states, and Pennsylvania's the only state that I know of that does a Flintlock season. And when you tell people in Kentucky, they look at you like you're taking out a 1776 Flintlock muzzleloader that may or may not. Why would you do that? Why do you? It's our tradition. I love Flintlock muzzleloader hunting, but literally Pennsylvania is the only state that does it.
And I think there's probably a lot of people that would say between Flintlock and archery, it's just a lot more fun. And I would have to guess it's probably because you're so much more up close. You got to bring them in. There's no, there's a deer a mile out. Let me take that one. It's probably a lot more fun, be up close and personal.
Yeah, I think for me personally, even more than that, because I get that in archery season. I think Flintlock muzzleloader hunting is like half the time you don't even know if it's going to go off. It's just you're going out. There's no pressure. Like, I put pressure on myself in archery. I got to be in the right place at the right time. I got to do this. Flintlock is it's fun. You get a buddy, we're going to go, and heck, the gun, and you laugh about it, right? So it's just a laid back, great opportunity to be in the woods. But you're right, you get them closer, but just a great time, great tradition in Pennsylvania for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have never personally been flintlock hunting, but it's something that has always kind of been in the back of my mind. Maybe go out and do it, but just graduating from high school and stuff, it's always hard to get out.
Sure. Always
busy. So just kind of talking about. I really enjoyed some of the updates on your dad's buck this year. I know you'll probably have it on the show, but just run us through a little bit about just the full-on experience.
Yeah. Actually, I do a documentary every year. This will be the 4th one. And for me, it's going to be a documentary that's going to be about not so much, like a lot of my documentaries have been my pursuit of a big buck and what I did to get that big buck. This one's really going to be a story that takes us back, and it's going to be kind of twofold. It's going to be, we're going to do a lot of reminiscing of what hunting used to be like, right? Like, hunting has changed so much, and there's parts of hunting that I like that have changed, and there's parts that I hate it. And just the parts that I miss is that just, when you were a kid and you went hunting with your dad and you shot the first buck that it could have 1 horn spike. My first buck ever, 1 horn spike, and I was pumped, right? And you didn't get into the antler sizes, and you talk about that, and you miss that, and I get so caught up in my own season chasing a buck, and I was chasing this buck, and it was just kind of, it's like, I need a break. Like, I want to do something. I want to enjoy myself, and I try and get my dad out every year. I've been, he almost died of COVID, and he was in the hospital for 89 days, and I'll get choked up talking about it because it was a really dark time in our lives. We didn't think he was coming home, and ever since he got out, I've taken him out. This was the 4th or 5th year that I've got him a deer, right? You know, and so it's important to me. I don't take any of that time for granted anymore, and I take time and I help my family. And to get him out and see him shoot his biggest buck ever, it was a mainframe 8 that had 21-inch spread. It was just a great deer, and to be sitting beside him when he got his biggest buck was special. And the documentary is going to be something, I think, whether you like hunting, you don't like hunting, it's going to be a story about, I think, just not taking for granted the time that you have with your loved ones. And that doesn't just mean hunting. That means making memories, whatever your thing is, right? You know, maybe it's going to Steelers games or baseball games with your family, but taking time in your busy schedule to do stuff. And I've been fortunate. I really feel like when Dad got out of the hospital from COVID, God gave me a second chance. Like he really did. And I don't take any of the time that I have with him for granted anymore. So doing stuff like that and seeing him get his biggest buck. And I know I'm rambling, but it was just an awesome experience.
Hey, you know, an experience like that, you probably could tell the whole world about it, because you know that's something that not a lot of people realize or get to experience. So we're going to take a quick break here. You are watching the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show here at the Haskell House, also sponsored by Dubrook. I'm Brock Jordan. This is Jason Say, and we'll be right back.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
Since 1946, we've delivered. From commercial to residential, we've got you covered. We proudly serve and support our local communities. Call 844-DUBROOK or visit us online. Dubrook, your trusted ready-mix concrete supplier.
At First United National Bank Freiburg, the fun bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. From savings to home loans, we help you grow right where you belong. Stop in today and feel the difference at the Fun Bank. This game is brought to you by Tionesta Builders? No, Tionesta Builder Supply. Family-owned and operated home improvement centers located in Tionesta and Shippenville.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
Eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK, and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Our focus has always been on you at Clarion County Community Bank. We're a full-service bank that offers the financial tools you need and the personal attention you deserve. You'll discover we're not just investing in our community, we're investing in you. Clarion County Community Bank.
For over 50 years, Carly Tire and Clarion has been keeping you rolling with quality tires for all your driving needs. And now, we're more than just tires. From state inspections to oil changes to brakes and total car care, Carly Tire is your one-stop shop to keep your vehicle safe and running smooth. Experience hometown service you can trust and quality you can count on. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires. Stop in today and see why Clarion has trusted us for over 50 years.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Modern Living Solutions in Knox is always on the lookout for driven, positive individuals to join their team. They offer career growth opportunities and industry-leading pay. No experience is necessary as training is provided. Apply today and build a future with Modern Living Solutions. At Clarion Forest VNA, we bring compassionate care to your doorstep. From skilled nursing to hospice services, we're here for you and your loved ones. Clarion Forest VNA, your trusted partner in home health care.
Since 1946, we've delivered. From commercial to residential, we've got you covered. We proudly serve and support our local communities. Call 844-DO-BROOK or visit us online. Do-Brook, your trusted ready-mix concrete supplier.
Alrighty, back here at the Haskell House for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also sponsored by Do-Brook. This is Brock Jordan, again here joined by Jason Say. You know, we're going to kind of get into your business aspect of life here. You know, you do all sorts of things. You know, you have the consulting business, you have Magnet Outdoors with Josh Lesniak and some of the other guys there, and you have All In Outdoors, your show and stuff. We'll start out with, let's start out with your property consulting. I know I just talked to you a lot here 2 weekends ago about it, and you know, it's quite impressive what you do there. I'm sure it's a lot of work, you know, heading out all there. So just talk to us a little bit about what goes on in those.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, you know, I wake up every day, and I worked in healthcare for 14 years. I wore a suit and tie, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so now to wake up every day, and I get to do deer hunting stuff every day. And I'm not naive enough. There are a lot of great hunters that live around here. I mean, better hunters than me. You know, you think of, you know, I'll give him a shot, Gary Rex. I don't know if you know him. He's just he's been a good friend of mine, and man, the guy's just a great hunter. You got, you know, the Leatherwood Outdoors guys from down in Redbank. Those guys, I mean, they're shooting great bucks. They're fantastic hunters. I'm so lucky to be able to do what I do, and so, you know, the property consulting, you know, that kind of spun off. You know, it started with with Wired Outdoors in the beginning, and then evolved into my All In Outdoors and kind of doing the documentary stuff. And the property consulting just kind of spun off that, because I started with just doing food plots, and I really got in with a big seed company, and they were having me produce all their content. And I was so lucky, you know, you look back in your life like, how in the world did I get into this, you know? But the first time I ever planted a food plot, I was hooked. There was nothing I like better more than seeing your hard work, you know, pay off and grow. And, you know, and even when I didn't shoot a deer, you know, just to see it, it's like, man, did you see my awesome looking food plot, you know? So what ended up happening, people are watching my videos, and I had guys start reaching out to me and saying, hey, you know, you're shooting these big bucks, and would you come tell me how to do that? And I mean, for years, Brock, I was just like, man, just for my business, I'd have to charge to go, and, you know, I'm as far down as North Carolina, New York, Ohio, Michigan, Maryland, West Virginia. So, man, I got to charge a guy, and I just, you know, there's part of me that kind of feel guilty, right? Like, man, I don't want to, in order for it to make sense to me. And I had a good buddy, John Collins, who I worked with. He's like, listen, dude, he's like, these guys are calling you for this. If it saves them time, saves them money, saves them, like, a lot of it just saves the learning curve, right? Like, the guy says, okay, I'm just going to watch YouTube videos, and I'm going to go out and try and do all this thing to my property, make it better for whitetail hunting. You know, you can screw a lot of things up. He's like, there's a need for it. That, you know, these guys will pay for that. So one thing led to another. I started about 6 years ago. I've now had hundreds of property consulting clients, again, go all over. I really focus on the Northeast, you know, which is New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia, Maryland, Kentucky. You know, I really focus on that. It's been a tremendous, I remember guys telling me when I got into it, they're like, you're going to have people that you hate. They're going to think they know more than you. You know, they're going to give you a hard time. I have not had one client that I didn't really like. And most of them will say, well, I'm paying you to come here and tell me what to do. Why am I going to tell you what to do? So, man, a lot of my clients have become really, really good friends. And the most rewarding thing for me and all that is when I go in and I do a plan, and then I get that email from a guy with a picture of his buck. When he says, hey, man, it's working. You know, one, to see them put in the hard work, right? Because it's a lot of work. You know, habitat management, from food plots, timber stand improvement, planning your cover, you know, taking the chainsaw out, cut. It is a lot of work. So for me, I know that. I've done that. And when I see another guy do that, and then he starts to see the fruits of his labor, that's the biggest reward for me.
Yeah, and I think one of the topics that really was the most interesting to me when we talked a couple weeks ago was, you know, not too many people will say, hey, look, I'm honestly probably not the best fit to come out and look at your property. And the reason I found that so interesting was the reason why you've told people that, and how you don't like to go to the Midwest because, you know, as you talked about, the hunting pressures, everything like that, the population, it's so different than, you know, your focus in the Northeast. And that was one of the things that I found most interesting, because most people would just, you know, say, hey, they're going to pay me. I'm just going to go out and do it because why not? It's money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I am really fortunate now. I book out every year. And there are guys that I've turned down. You know, I get a lot of calls from the South. I get calls like from the Midwest. And I strongly believe exactly like you said, and everybody knows this, and anybody who's watching this from the Northeast, Pennsylvania, New York, hunting in Pennsylvania, and I've hunted those states, it's a lot different than Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa. It's a lot different than Alabama and those southern states. The soil conditions are different. The pressure, right? These are high pressure states. You know, we're high deer density states, right? You go to Iowa, and it's a 1-to-1, 1-to-2 ratio. In Pennsylvania, it might be in areas it's 1-to-15.
Yep.
Well, that makes hunting different. That makes how you're going to set your property up different. So I've told a bunch of guys, hey, sorry, I don't go that far. You know, you got good guys in your area, but I do feel strongly when you're looking for a guy, if you're in that boat and you're saying, man, like I know my property, it can do better, and I'm just at a loss of what I can do to make it better. You know, whether it's me, I strongly encourage you, pick somebody from your region. The second thing I say is make sure you pick somebody who's doing the things you want to accomplish, right? So if you say, I always ask a guy, what is your goals? And there's no right or wrong answer. Like, I don't get into you have to hunt like I do and you got to shoot trophy bucks, because I've had grandpas call me and say, I got 20 grandkids, we'll shoot the first basket rack 6 we see, we just want to see more of them. Okay, I can help you do that. Like, we can set your property up, you know, but make sure if you're saying, you know, my goal is I want to shoot big bucks like you're shooting consistently, well, then make sure you're picking a guy that's doing that, right? Who would hire a consultant to come in and tell you, okay, hey, here's how you're going to shoot big bucks, and they're not shooting big bucks. Mm-hmm. And I was on the phone call with the guy, and I think it was in the article, but the guy actually said to me when I was explaining, he's like, yeah, it's like kind of like picking a financial consultant. You know, you're going to pick a guy that has $25 million in the bank or $10 in the bank. So the same thing. If you want to shoot big bucks, make sure you're picking a guy that's doing the things that you want to accomplish.
So, you know, in your travels doing this, you know, I'm sure you come across all types of hunters. Like you said, you know, you have the guys that just they're looking to fill up a freezer. You have the guys that, hey, we want to get a mount on the wall up above the TV. You know, and I guess typically what's probably the most requested? I would assume it's probably you want to shoot the biggest bucks you can. But is that typically the most requested? Like, hey, this is my goal. I want to shoot, you know, a deer that's, you know, above a 160, scores a 160 or more. You know, what's typically the goal you hear?
By far, it's the guys that watch me and watch my videos and say, I want to shoot bucks like you're shooting. I want to shoot, and I don't get so much into score in Pennsylvania. For me, my goal every year is a 4.5, 5.5-year-old deer. You can shoot that every year in my area of Pennsylvania. You're doing a good job. I was on a property the other day in Clearfield where the guy had 800 acres. So he might be able to get a buck to 6.5 years old. That might be possible. So everywhere you go, but that was his goal. I want to consistently shoot, and have opportunities at bigger bucks. And that's generally what I find most guys are hiring me to come in and do. But it's like I always say, one of my biggest pet peeves in the hunting industry, and I'm in it, right? And people watch too many hunting videos. They watch guys like me, and then they decide, I want to do what he's doing, and it's more about somebody else than what it is for you as an individual. And I'll just break that down a little bit. When I was a kid growing up, man, my first buck was a one-horn spike. Then after that, I shot about 14 basket rack, 6 and 8 points.
Yep.
And you know what? I was pumped with every single one of them. But the first time I had a true big giant buck in front of me, I was hooked. It was over for me. That's what I want to do. But I come back to, that's what I want to do. And that doesn't make it right or wrong, but for me, that's what floats my boat. So I tell guys, forget watching TV, forget what you saw on TV, make hunting what you want it to be. And if you want it to be with family and you're sharing that experience and you just want more deer on your property, there is nothing wrong with that. Like, don't ever be embarrassed about what you shoot. If your knees were shaking when that buck came in and you shot it, don't go on Facebook and try and make excuses for it. Like, I'm pumped for you. So it's one of my just biggest pet peeves with hunting. And sometimes when people see me and say, oh, you're a trophy hunter. Okay, for me, I want a big mature buck. That's what I hunt every year, but that's what floats my boat. But that doesn't mean that's what you have to do. And I try and tell guys that. Forget what you saw on TV. Make hunting what you want it to be each year.
Exactly.
Make your season the memories that you want it to be. And for everybody, that's different. There's no right or wrong answer.
You know, I know people that they'll go out, you know, they always say, I don't want to shoot anything smaller than what I got last year. And, you know, sometimes it's just not possible. You know, sometimes, you know, if you shoot the biggest buck on the property, chances are you're not going to see one that was bigger than the one from last year. But you give it a year or two, let things grow out a little bit. Maybe it's possible, but sometimes I think that there's some goals that are set that are almost, not to say unreachable, but unrealistic for a short-term, 1 year long goal. And it's just something that I don't think I think a lot of people just think they can go out, shoot the biggest buck they see and call it a year. And there's a lot more work that goes involved to it. So, on that point, what's one of the biggest factors that you go into a property and you see, hey, this is definitely one change you need to make as a property manager?
Sure. Well, again, I always come back to goals. What are the goals of the property? If the guy's saying, hey, I want to shoot big mature bucks, how big's the property, right? I've done property consults as small as 8 acres to 2,000 acres. So there's a ton of variables, right? But the number one thing I see when a guy's saying, hey, I want to shoot mature bucks, and I'm seeing these bucks at the beginning of the season or right before hunting season and they disappear, 9 times out of 10 that tells me that's a cover problem. Big bucks want safety, they want that thick cover. So when I get in there, I'm seeing, hey man, you got a lot of mature timber, or you just don't have any cover. And unfortunately that's a long-term solution.
Yeah.
We got to do, that's not as easy as, hey, we're going to put a food plot in. But if I had to pick one thing I see when it comes to chasing mature bucks, it all comes down, everybody thinks of me as a food plot guy. I tell people when it comes to big mature bucks, it comes down way more about cover and the thick stuff, where those big bucks are going to feel safe than it ever. Food's easy, cover's hard, and cover is the number one thing you can do when it comes to, for big mature whitetail.
Yeah, that's just it. You can do the food plot every year. Cover, it'll take trees, timber, all kinds of stuff like that. It'll take years for that stuff to really develop.
Right.
And I guess moving on to those food plots and stuff, you're also a part of the crew at Magnet Outdoors.
That's right.
And I know I just saw, I think you guys just released a new product.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so Magnet Outdoors, I've been doing this. I was doing product videos on food plotting. I'd had numerous companies reach out to me and say, hey, would you want to start a food plot seed line with us? And I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And then, I'm 53 years old, and I started looking at all my businesses, and they all do well, but, what's something I can build that maybe my kids can have someday? Or I'm going to sell it when I'm ready to be done and retire, and it can be my retirement. And just the no-brainer was kind of, man, I'm an expert in this, right? I can do this, and I can do it, in my opinion, better than what a lot of people are doing. And so that kind of started, and I was fortunate, Wilson and Steve Scott, they reached out to me. We were just talking about things. They were the original founders of the #1 food plot seed company. They did it before anybody else. So I literally couldn't have picked better partners, right? And they called me and said, well, there's only one guy we do this with, and it's you. And so it kind of got the ball rolling. And then just a no-brainer for me was Josh from J&J. Josh and I have been good friends for a long time. He's got that seed side of it down. I'm kind of the marketing guy. I know what works from the hunting strategy. But man, he's just been the best, most valuable, business partner you could imagine when it came to this. And so we built quite a team, and we launched last July, and the support was great. It's not an ideal time. We had contracts and stuff we had to finish up. You kind of would like to start a food plot company in January 1.
Right.
So we were about 6 months late, but man, we did really, really well. And then, we plan on doing different products. And in the food plot seed world, it's very competitive now. There's a lot. So what can you do that's really different? We were super excited. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds and technical with things, but there's a process that I've been doing for years, 20 years, called frost seeding. And it's real simple. It might not sound like, oh, it never works. It's one of the most effective ways of doing a food plot. Is you need a seed spreader and a bag of seed and some bare dirt in February, early March, when that ground's freezing and thawing. Go out and spread that seed, and in the spring, voila. You know. And so what I noticed was nobody was really doing a seed blend specifically for that. And so for the last 2 years, we've been working on this. It's called the OG, standing for the original. We went kind of gangster, I guess. I'm not cool. My daughter said, it's like, OG. She's like, yeah, that's original, Dad. I'm like, okay, cool. So we went with the OG frost seed, which stands for the original, and we're literally the first ones to do it. And in the first 2 days, we went through 15% of our inventory. So that's a really good sign. But, if you're a frost seeder out there and you're looking for it, again, it's called the OG frost seed, and it's at our website, magnetoutdoors.com, and it's going to be a really, really popular blend for us.
Yeah, I know you talked about Josh there being kind of the guy when it comes to the seed world. Talk about what more more about what he brought to the table. You know, I know he helps out with a lot of the testing and stuff like that, just in a lot of the blends.
Yeah.
You know, just talk about, you know, how important he's been to this entire process and what he does for you guys.
Well, Josh has multiple businesses. He's a great businessman. And, you know, he deals with the inventory, you know, making sure we have enough boxes, looking at the year-end reports. I'm the marketing guy, and I go out and I make things look pretty. The website, I handle all that, the email marketing. I'm on social media putting stuff out. He's really kind of doing all the other stuff, and, man, he just has so much experience. And he's the same guy I drive him nuts sometimes, because one thing we do different than a lot of seed companies is we test. You know, so when we did this, just to give you an idea, when we did this frost seed blend, anybody can buy 5 clovers and put them in a bag and say we're selling a frost seed blend. We've tested this for 2 years. We started with 30 different clovers, and I drive them nuts, like, because I'm like, okay, because not all clovers are available. I'm like, Josh, I want to test this clover. I'll test this clover, and he gets it taken care of. He tracks it down. So in essence, what we did, we started 2 years ago testing 30 different clovers, okay, and what grew the best in frost seeding conditions, and most importantly, what did the deer like the most? So, like, he's dealing with all that stuff with the seed companies, making sure we're getting all the seeds that I want to test. And then when it comes time to put the blends together, just the percentages. There's so many little technical things. But Josh, you know, Josh and I started, you know, we weren't in business together. I took his son Payson. It's Payson's birthday tonight, so Payson's watching this. Happy birthday. But that's why Josh couldn't be here. And we got Payson his first year together. And we weren't in business together, but we really were kind of kindred spirits. He was the same as me. He quit his job, he banked everything out, he made lots of sacrifices, he built his businesses, and we really just kind of hit it off. So when it came time to do this, it was a really easy decision to get Josh involved.
So with the seed company, you know, is this something that, again, like your consulting, you know, you guys focus primarily on, you know, making the plots the best they can be in the Northeast, or do you guys, you know, do you test things for all sorts of different regions? What do you guys kind of focus on there?
Yeah, we test, we're extremely, no seed company's doing this. We do regional blends. We test in the South, we test in Alabama, we test in Georgia, we test in Kentucky, we test in New York, we test in Michigan, we test in Illinois, we test in Missouri. So we're hitting like the Midwest, the South, the North, and we do regional blends. So one of my big pet peeves always in some of these blends you get from some of the bigger brands, you'll see a lot of, like, I don't want to get too technical, but like your clover blend. In the North, you'll see intermediate clovers. Intermediate clovers, you don't really need those in the North. They're more for the South. So in essence, when you're buying that bag and you're in the North, you're wasting some of your money on seed you really don't need. So what we want to do is say, hey, when somebody buys this in the North, every seed in that bag is going to do well in their area. So, you know, we have our Brassica Binge South and our Brassica Binge North. You know, we have our Founders Blend, which is our Clover and Chicory North, and our Founders Blend South, you know. So the regional blend was a big deal and something that we're doing different than what a lot of people are doing.
So yeah, that's the, you know, kind of the business aspect. You know, Jason Say. What does Jason Say do? We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the big spotlights in deer hunting that have been around, and especially in Pennsylvania the last couple years.
Yeah.
So this is Brock Jordan here with Jason Say. We're here at the Haskell House, and for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also sponsored by Dubrook, and we will be right back.
Was I rambling too much?
No, you're good.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
NPRC helps me with the flexibility of the class times. I'm able to balance work, our hobbies of racing, and our family time in general with being able to take classes when it's convenient for me.
Affordable opportunities are endless at Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. If you're looking to start next semester or next year, apply now at discovernprc.org. discovernprc.org.
Good luck to all of our area teams from Clarion Ford Chrysler.
Local sales team. Local owners.
And remember to buy local at Clarion Ford Chrysler, where all your money stays to the local community.
At First United National Bank Freiburg, the Fun Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. From savings to home loans, we help you grow right where you belong. Stop in today and feel the difference at the Fun Bank. This game is brought to you by Tionesta Builders? No, Tionesta Builder Supply. Family-owned and operated home improvement centers located in Tionesta and Shippenville.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
Need reliable plumbing or heating services? Call Luton's Plumbing and Heating. Fast, friendly, and available 24/7. Call them at 814-226-8695.
Your eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK, and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Our focus has always been on you at Clarion County Community Bank. We're a full-service bank that offers the financial tools you need and the personal attention you deserve. You'll discover we're not just investing in our community, we're investing in you. Clarion County Community Bank.
For over 50 years, Carly Tire and Clarion has been keeping you rolling with quality tires for all your driving needs. And now, we're more than just tires. From state inspections to oil changes to brakes and total car care, Carly Tire is your one-stop shop to keep your vehicles safe and running smooth. Experience hometown service you can trust and quality you can count on. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires. Stop in today and see why Clarion has trusted us for over 50 years.
You can afford a gorgeous custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Alrighty, back here at the Haskell House for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also sponsored by Dubrook. Brock Jordan here with Jason Say. You know, we're gonna get into sort of the more, I guess, if you want to call them controversial topics of hunting the last couple years. One of the biggest ones, I think, being the Sunday hunting. I don't really have an opinion on it. It wasn't something that really affected me too much, so it didn't bother me one way or another. But what's your standpoint on Sunday hunting? I know there's a lot of people that don't seem to like it.
Yeah. Well, let's start before we get into some of these controversial things. I want to talk about it from an overall perspective, right? And one of my biggest pet peeves is hunters are some of our own worst enemies. We tear each other apart. The bottom line is we probably agree on 99.999% of things, but if you disagree with me on one thing, I hate your guts, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing. And so these are my opinions, right? And they don't make them right, they don't make them wrong, and I'll tell you, like, personally why I support things and I don't. But I always tell guys, before you go and rip into somebody that they're an idiot, like, really your debate is not with that individual hunter, it's with the legislation.
Right.
If you have an issue with something that's currently a law or whatever, then take it up with your legislature. You don't need to just, and that goes for, crossbows and all the different things. Like, and I don't want to get like crossbows. I'll just real quick, I love archery hunting, and one of the things I worry about with crossbow hunting is we're going to lose archery hunters. I would love to see crossbow have a season within the archery season, like a week or 2 week season, but then get other people, make them, if they want to keep hunting, that they got a bow hunt. I'm cool with crossbows for, disabled, and things like that. And it's not so much, I think the more hunters we can get in the woods, the better, but I don't want to see bow hunting go away. So, and so hopefully most people would say, okay, that's reasonable, right? I'm not like, because other guys are like, no crossbows ever, and we're at the point we need hunters. So I guess I say all that because as we're going to get into some of these are my opinions. They don't make them right. They don't make them wrong. Right. It's just why I have that opinion. So Sunday hunting. I am 100% all for it. Because again, I come back to guys, we're losing hunters. I feel like opening up more days to hunt is not going to hurt you. Guys have 2 days off during the week. Now, what I'll say from a personal level, this was the first year of Sunday hunting, I get to hunt every day. So I kind of look forward to Sundays off. So for me personally, I said to my wife, I'm like, man, I wish we didn't have Sunday hunting, because when I'm chasing that big buck, I'm out there every single day. I never had a day off, and Sundays were kind of my day to regroup, right?
Yep.
But that would be a selfish reason. I look at Sundays hunting as a guy that works 5 days a week. He has 2 days to hunt. The more opportunities we can give a guy, I'm all for it. I know tradition. I know there were guys at camps. There's people I see, they hate the Saturday opener. Especially guys that went to camps. It was their tradition. I understand all that. I'm not trying to, make light of any of that. But what I do know is we are losing hunting numbers. So I feel like any way we can open it up, and I feel like, going away from the Monday to a Saturday opener, I'm okay with that. I'm not like adamant one way or the other. If you made me pick, I think I like the Saturday opener. But yeah, so those are my opinions on it. I like the Saturday. I like the Saturday opener. I think it opens up more opportunities for those guys that are working. Being able to hunt on Sundays. Just another day for those guys that have to work every day.
Yeah, and I think with the Saturday opener, I think a lot of the biggest argument, like you said, the guys that go to camps is, some people don't have their holiday until that Saturday. And, while I get that point, I'm kind of on the other side of the fence where it's like, you have the 14, 13, 15 other days to go out there. If you have to miss opening day, I've never thought of it as a big deal, but, that's just always because I was like, hey, it's the holiday, I'm going to spend time with the family. But there's a lot of families that go and like that, the hunting is their holiday.
Yeah.
They love to do it. And, it's something that, like I said, I don't, really have a choice one way or the not choice, but I don't really care one way or the other what they decide, to keep, to get rid of. It's just something that, like you said, you understand both sides of the argument, and but it's not like one side's like, well, that's a dumb point. Both points that people make I think are relatively valid points, and kind of going on to that whole hunter population thing, is the Sunday and Saturday, the Saturday opener, Sunday hunting, is that something that you see as a option of this is how we're going to get more hunters in the woods? Like, is that something that you saw as, almost kind of like a tactic to get more hunters out there?
Sure. Personally and honestly, I'm scared for hunting. I really am, because you see less and less. Here's the deal. When I was 12-year-old, we didn't have video games. We had 2 channels on the TV with rabbit ears. I mean, you sat by the window before you were 12 and you waited for your dad and grandpa and them to get home. You couldn't wait till you were 12-year-old. And then when you were 12, you went hunting every day that you could, because that's what we did to entertain ourselves. Because if you didn't go hunting, what are you going to do, sit in the house and stare at the wall? Like, you were excited for it. Now, it's just so different. And I don't want to, the thing I've realized in everything in life, whether it's hunting, change flips people out,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, things are going to change, and this is just a change that's happening. But it does scare me for hunting, because I see it more and more. Even sometimes when I take kids hunting, they have to have something to entertain them. They're just used to constantly being entertained, where us going out and sitting in the woods, that was entertainment for us, because you're gonna sit in the house and stare at the wall, so it's just so different. And I feel like we're losing kids, and I don't know what the answer is, right? But I feel like we have to do things, and I'm willing to give Saturday and Sunday hunting a try if it's going to get more people. If a guy's saying, well, I never bought my license because I can only hunt 1 day a week, now I can hunt 2, I can get my kid out. So I think the theory of it is correct. Now it'll be interesting to see the numbers. Did so many people quit going to camp hunting because the tradition was broken? And if the numbers support that, then I'm willing to do things and be open to things, to do whatever we can to get as many people in the woods.
Yeah, and I guess that comes along with what are some of the things that you think can be done to whether it be adult hunters or mainly to get more youth hunters out there? Like, what are some of the things that you think can be done really to try and do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just comes on a real personal level. The Game Commission can only do so much to get kids. It really has to start in the home. Has to start with guys like me. I'm at the age, I'm getting ready to be an empty nester. I always took my kids, they're done, but I have to go every year to get a kid their first year. And I'd love to see more guys do that. Like, hey, I'm going to take time. You know, one thing I see that's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine is I'll see a lot of guys will say something like they shot their buck in archery, and they'll say, okay, now it's time to get the kids a deer. Okay, why didn't you get the kids a deer first? You know, why wasn't that your first priority, right? You know, and I get it, you know, like I only have so much time, but I want guys to think about that, and I see that all the time. They've tagged out, and they're trying to act like they're being real unselfish now. They want to keep hunting, so I already used my tag, so I'll take my kids out. Yep. And I look at like, man, I take my kids first. Like, you know, I'm going to get them a deer when I can, or my wife, or whatever it is. But I really feel like there's only, it's a societal change, right? Like it's deeper than what the Game Commission can do. So it's really going to be up to hunters to say, listen, we're going to do whatever we can to get kids out. And I've taken lots and lots of kids hunting, and some of them stick with it for life, and a lot of them don't. And I firmly believe back when I was a kid, every kid hunted because it was entertainment. Now you're at the point where, and I believe this, I believe genetically, there are people that are born to hunt. Like, I was born to hunt. There's something about it. And I have a kid, you know, a kid I took to get turkey, you know, he's 8 or 9 years old, you know, his name's Joshua. He's one of those kids I'll point to. That kid was born to hunt. He never, I've been taking him out since he was 7 years old, and he would sit there. He didn't need a video game, and he would watch. He was more intent than I was. The kid has it in his blood. Now, his brother, you know, I think he likes it, and he likes the idea of it, and he'll probably go a little bit, but he may not end up hunting. And so we got to find those kids. Like, if they're never introduced to it, if they're not introduced to it at a young age, they may never, ever come back to it. So I think it's up to, you know, there's a lot of great programs. You know, there's Clarion County Sportsman for Youth that does Youth Field Day, and those are all great programs, but I think it's going to take guys that are actually going to take the time to take kids hunting. Whether it's your kid, make a goal every year. I'm going to take 1 or 2 kids hunting, and my goal is to get them a deer, to introduce them, to get them a turkey, you know, and things like that. And I think it's going to be more of that than what any kind of government bureaucracy is going to be able to do for us.
Now, I've always been told that, you know, like when my parents were in school, I think that the hunter safety course was something that the schools provided.
They did.
And it's not done anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that maybe should be thought about to be brought back to at least introduce them to the outdoors side of things?
Yeah, I don't know that would really, because there's so many that are available that a kid can go to, that I think they still make it pretty convenient for a kid. So I don't know that that's the answer, but you're right. Like, you know, I had it right at the school, and, you know, we went right after school, and possibly, but I don't know in the big picture. But I don't think it's going to be, you're going to have that one, you know, silver bullet that's going to fix everything.
The wave.
It's going to be a lot of different things, and if that's a little thing that gets a kid to do it, but at the end of the day, it's all well and good that he went and got his hunter safe, but is somebody taking him hunting? You know, like, is somebody going to take that kid out and show him responsible, ethical hunting, and hopefully have him have some success? I think is what it's going to come down to more than anything.
Yeah, you know, just kind of the last point here. I think another one of the big things going on, and especially from what I hear in Pennsylvania, is, you know, like the doe population. And I always hear people, you know, we've seen the doe tag distribution, you know, have some changes the last couple years. Is there any way that you see that ever changing other than getting more hunters out into the woods?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're up against it now. There's 2 different things when you talk doe population. You got the public land, where there's a lot of hunters and they have a lot of tags and they've really shot a lot of deer. Then you have the private land, right? And I can tell you, I talk to a lot of clients, and that's one of the first questions they ask me, like, how many does should I shoot on my property? And there's going to be wildlife biologists out there that cringe at this, at what I'm going to say, but I've lived it in real world experience, and I think that the Game Commission has to come up with a better way. You know, I have private ground, and one year it was just like, hey, we got too many does. I watched a lot of TV shows. We're just going to put it to them. You know, and I think we ended up killing 20 deer off a 160-acre piece. That's a lot of deer. Mm-hmm. The next year I had more does than I had the year before. And unless your neighbors are doing it, and when you have big groups of private ground where it's not like it used to be. Everything's posted, right? Yep. You know, I plant food plots now, so I'm not just going to leave it open. I'm spending thousands of dollars to improve the property. You just can't, because you're going to come in, there's going to be people that are sitting there. So it's different than when we were. So unless we figure out a way to start killing more does on private ground, and I've heard things run by like earn a buck, where you have to shoot a doe first to that might be an idea. People might flip out about that, but hey, that's a way that you're going to make somebody. Now this year, like I said, I shot 4 doe and I have 1 more tag, but it's not even going to do a dent, you know, in the area. So that's really a big question, and that is something where I say that the Game Commission and stuff, and I don't try to be a wildlife biologist. I don't try and pretend to have the solution, but what I do know is we have to figure out a way to get more doe shot on private ground for sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we come back. You have an event coming up here at the end of January, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to wrap things up after that. But this is the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show at the Haskell House, also sponsored by Dubrook. This is Brock Jordan and Jason Stay, and we'll be right back.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
MPRC helps me with the flexibility of the class times. I'm able to balance work, our hobbies of racing, and our family time in general with being able to take classes when it's convenient for me.
Affordable opportunities are endless at Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. If you're looking to start next semester or next year, apply now at discovernprc.org. discovernprc.org.
Good luck to all of our area teams from Clarion Ford Chrysler.
Local sales team. Local owners.
And remember to buy local at Clarion Ford Chrysler, where all your money stays to the local community.
At First United National Bank Freiburg, the Fun Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. From savings to home loans, we help you grow right where you belong. Stop in today and feel the difference at the Fun Bank. This game is brought to you by Tionesta Builders? No, Tionesta Builder Supply. Family-owned and operated home improvement centers located in Tionesta and Shippenville.
Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
Need reliable plumbing or heating services? Call Luton's Plumbing and Heating. Fast, friendly, and available 24/7. Call them at 814-226-8695.
Your eyes are the window to your soul, so take care of them. The Laurel Eye Clinic provides complete care from annual exams, glasses and contacts to cataract and retinal surgery, LASIK, and more. As a trusted leader in family eye care for 50 years, you can trust them with yours. Call or visit us online today.
Our focus has always been on you at Clarion County Community Bank. We're a full-service bank that offers the financial tools you need and the personal attention you deserve. You'll discover we're not just investing in our community, we're investing in you. Clarion County Community Bank.
For over 50 years, Carly Tire and Clarion has been keeping you rolling with quality tires for all your driving needs. And now, we're more than just tires. From state inspections to oil changes to brakes and total car care, Carly Tire is your one-stop shop to keep your vehicle safe and running smooth. Experience hometown service you can trust and quality you can count on. Carly Tire, the area's largest selection of tires. Stop in today and see why Clarion has trusted us for over 50 years.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's Factory Direct Kitchens.
Alrighty, back here at the Haskell House. This is Brock Jordan with Jason Say here for the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show. Also sponsored by Dubrook here. So for our last segment, you have the Whitetail Habitat Extravaganza coming up. You used to have it as what was it, the food plot?
The food plot extravaganza,
Up at 66, and now, all of a sudden it's
Just
huge.
yeah.
Now you're at the Cornerstone Church in Shippenville.
That's right. Yep.
We're gonna take a second to. I know you had a promo video come out, so we're gonna take a second to show everybody that, and they can get some of the information from them, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it whenever the video is done.
Sure. Hey everybody, Jason Say here, and we are so excited for our upcoming event, the Whitetail Habitat Extravaganza. And if you followed me, you know a few years ago I did a food plot extravaganza, sold out in 2 days, and it was a great day. And we've expanded it. You know, that year we could only fit about 100 people. We've expanded to the Cornerstone Church where we can fit up to 500 people, and this is going to be an entire day from 8:30 in the morning till probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon with 2 guest speakers, myself. I'll be talking about food strategy and hunting strategy. We have Jason Lapardis, a wildlife biologist, the CEO of Turkeys for Tomorrow, that's going to be talking everything habitat, cover, timber stand improvement, everything you can do to make your cover better. So it is going to be an action-packed day. I encourage you, don't wait long if you want to get your tickets. The event is January 31st. That's a Saturday in Shippenville, Pennsylvania at the Cornerstone Church. We can fit 500 people. We know it's going to fill up. There's going to be other vendors that day. We're going to have Great Plains Drills are going to be there, Coons Engineering Equipment, Scott Mook's going to be there with his tracking dog, and a whole bunch of other people as well. Food's going to be available for purchase on site. Going to be a great day. So I encourage you, if you're interested in taking your property to the next level, get your tickets today at magnetoutdoors.com.
Alrighty, so that was the promo video. You went through a lot of the information in that. Obviously, the headline sponsors you guys with Magnet Outdoors.
Yeah.
And, I guess the main thing is here. Just talk about the story of the expansion.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I did this. I had guys ask me, property consulting, have you ever done a seminar? And I'm like, I don't know. And actually Josh pushed me a little bit too, because I was kind of like, I don't know if any guys would come, like who wants to do, he's like, you'll fill it up. And now we could fit 120 people. And I'm like, I don't know. And that's the thing with Josh, he's always kind of the optimist, and I'm more a little pessimistic. And so I was like, all right. So I came up with the concept. We called it the Food Plot Extravaganza, and I was going to really break down food plots and all that kind of stuff. And we put it out there. We worked with Route 66, Lori at Route 66, and it was a great first year. And we put it out. We sold out in less than 2 days, 120 tickets. I had guys come from Michigan, all over the place. And so I was like, well, and I never did another one after that because what can I do different? I just spent a whole day talking about this stuff. Well, as much as I've got into this, it's like, hey, we can do a whole thing on the food and the hunting, but then also habitat, cover and different things like that. So that's kind of why it evolved from the food plot extravaganza. I didn't want people to just think it's, hey, you're going to learn how to plant food plots. It encompasses your property from a complete approach to make everything better for whitetail. And that's why I'm going to be doing a talk in the morning, and then we'll have lunch, and in the afternoon is going to be Jason Lapardis. He's the CEO for Turkeys for Tomorrow, and he's going to talk all about your timber stand improvement, your cover, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know you had a good list of vendors coming in. Just, what are a couple of those vendors?
Sure.
Some of them on the video.
Yeah, like we said, Route 66 is going to be there. We're going to be doing a special deal that you can get at the store afterwards with them, which is I'm not going to give what it is, but it's going to be pretty exciting. J&J Feeds and Josh, but then we have Great Plains Sea Drills. We have Coons Engineering, which is equipment to haul behind your quad. We have 12-point hunting blinds. Scott Mook is going to have his tracking dog Kiki there, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's kind of everything. And I think what I want to stress about this event too, you heard me talk about seed drills, which are very expensive, right? And it kind of limits how many people can do that. And then we have Coons Engineering, which is equipment you can get for your quad. And what I want to make people aware in this event is I want people, when they come to this event, that it doesn't matter if you own 12 acres or 10 acres and you have hand tools and hand sprayers and that's how you can put a food plot in, or if you own a 500-acre farm and you have the biggest tractor and all the equipment in the world. I want everybody to be able to come there and you can make improvements to your property. It's not about how much money you have. It's not about how much equipment you have. It's going to be, if you want to do this kind of stuff, you can do it. So we're trying to make that accessible to everybody that wants to improve their property for whitetail.
Yeah, and I know that's one of the biggest goals is, when you want somebody coming to this, you want them to go home with, something they learned that they can do to improve what they're doing.
Correct. Yep.
But I mean, on a personal level for the event itself, What's some of the goals in the end game, as it maybe expand, I know, you 500 people now?
500, yep.
And now, is the goal 1,000? What are some goals for the event?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the goal for me in this was, I get a lot of people that ask me for it. We just launched Magnet Outdoors. It's a good opportunity for me to have a lot of guys there that we can, tell them our message and what Magnet Outdoors is all about, so like really the end goal for me is just about educating people and having a day. We're gonna have 500 people there of like-minded people, right? That are all interested in making their property better for whitetail, and anytime you can do that, it's gonna be great. And in that event, like I said, we had 2 different seminar speakers. Daddy's is providing lunch, like it's to purchase, but they're going to have, and if you know Daddy's food, it's awesome. So there's going to be a good lunch. And then during that lunchtime between the seminars, the 2 different seminar speakers, guys are going to be able to walk around and talk to the different vendors and all that kind of stuff. So really my goal at the end of the day is just educating people. And I don't know how big it'll get. I always sit there and say to myself, well, this is a whole day of me talking. Why would anybody want to come back? And I did this food plot extravaganza 3 years ago. The same guys that came to it from Michigan are coming back again to this one.
Right.
So, it's just a great time of year. People are stir crazy. They love deer hunting, and it's just an outlet for them to do something hunting related.
So, is this, you're now at the Cornerstone Church. It's the end of January. I know you told me you started taking calls for your consulting company, and the business really picks up, right about now.
Sure.
And that's when you start taking the phone calls. Do you expect, guys maybe to, get a big wave of calls after this, or?
Yeah. Well, I think I'll tell everybody we've already sold over 300 tickets, and we're a month and a half out. It's going to sell out. If you want to come. The thing that always bothers me is I'm going to get calls, people want to come in, and I'm like, sorry, 500 is our max. Like, we can't fit anymore. And like I said, we're already over 300. So, really you see that big wave in January for sure. So we know it's going to sell out. So I just encourage you can get your tickets. You have to get tickets. They're available at magnetoutdoors.com. Don't wait, because I hate telling people no, but we're going to get to that point, I guarantee it. On my property consulting, I'll tell you, it's been crazy. I've already booked, I think, 29 consults. And I'm only going to do a little over 30, so I'm almost already for the year booked out on that, which is, I'm extremely thankful. I'm grateful. I've worked hard to get here, but the business is to a point, it's kind of, people know who you are and they're calling you, and it's kind of running itself at this point. So yeah, with that, it's almost full. We know the Habitat Extravaganza is going to fill up. It's going to be a great day. So if you want to get tickets and you're thinking about coming, you should get them now.
Yeah, like Jason said, if you want to head to the event, I know there's a lot of people going to be there. Like you said, 300 tickets sold. Make sure to go to magnetoutdoors.com for more info and to buy your tickets. Jason, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a blast. I know, we don't typically get too outdoorsy on the sports show, but it's something that I think a lot of people, especially in this area, really enjoy.
For sure.
So, like I said, I just want to thank you for coming out tonight. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I can talk hunting all night long. I can talk sports all night long too. Like, I'm a sports guy. I played a lot of sports, so
you never know.
I can do both. But I love talking. Like I said, my first love was I wanted to be in the NBA. That didn't work out for me. I had a good career, but hunting probably would have been number 2. So I'm fortunate. I'm doing the number 2 thing that I would have probably loved to do. And I wake up every day. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the people that support me. I'm thankful for you guys having me on the show today.
Alrighty, hey, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Hope you learned some valuable information. I hope you guys go out and buy your tickets for the Whitetail Habitat Extravaganza. From Brock, Jordan, Jason Say, and everybody else here from the Haskell House, this was the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, also sponsored by Dubrook. And have a great night.
Merry Christmas.
Redbank Chevrolet, Clarion County's trusted vehicle dealer. At Redbank Chevrolet, we're more than just a dealership. We're your neighbors, your go-to team for everything Chevy. From the moment you walk through our doors, we're here to exceed your expectations with unbeatable service, great selection, and a fun car buying experience. Stop by or schedule your visit today. Together, let's drive.
MPRC helps me with the flexibility of the class times. I'm able to balance work, our hobbies of racing, and our family time in general with being able to take classes when it's convenient for me.
Affordable opportunities are endless. At Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. If you're looking to start next semester or next year, apply now at discovernprc.org. discovernprc.org.
Good luck to all of our area teams from Clarion Ford Chrysler.
Local sales team. Local owners.
And remember to buy local at Clarion Ford Chrysler, where all your money stays to the local community.